morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of the Daughter and Pops podcast. This morning, we are going to be switching it up a little bit, and instead of the WNBA, we're going to be talking about the NBA because we're both super excited for the NBA to start. Right, Pops?
More than just excited. Thrilled.
So, we'll be talking about the 2 games today in the NBA, which is the Jazz versus the Pelicans, and then the Clippers versus the Lakers.
Let's get to it then. Actually, before we start, Tati.
Yes.
What are you going to do next? Are you going to touch like baseball? Are you going to do swimming and diving? What sports don't you know?
I know, right? Well, that is going to be a surprise, but it is going to be something about golf. Just because my pops, he played golf when he was younger, and, just trying different things as well. So.
Well, good for you. Keep shooting for the stars. Keep putting forth your best effort. Keep putting in the work and have much confidence through that work. So let's get started. We got the Pelicans and the Jazz. This is an interesting game. Pelicans opened -2, currently -3. The total opened at 220. It's currently at 225. Again, I said the Pelicans are the favorite over the Jazz. This is a situation where, with all due respect to Zion and the Pelicans, what have they done this season to truly warrant being favored over the Jazz? Now, I feel like this is more public perception than anything else. Obviously, the Pelicans definitely played better when Zion was playing, no doubt. But the Jazz? We're talking about, a top 5, top 6 team. I know they lost Bogdanovich, but, they still have several pieces here. Obviously, they could be playing into, oddsmakers could be playing into the Stifle Tower and Donovan Mitchell not getting along with each other.
COVID.
But again, we're talking about the Pelicans -3 on a neutral court over the Jazz. It's not like this is a home game. This game's not being played in New Orleans. Okay? And here's another example. The Pelicans, obviously we don't have any neutral site splits to go off of, but the Pelicans, they were 15 and 17 away from home, which I will give them credit. It's better than their home record, 13 and 19 at home. But the Pelicans, 15 and 17 when they're playing on the road. Utah, away from home, 20 and 13.
Wow.
And that doesn't surprise me at all. Utah is a veteran team.
Yep.
And I think that that's going to be probably likely to be the case here. I like Utah. I could argue with the way Utah plays defense, specifically in the interior, that they might be better equipped to handle Zion. Plus, right, Zion at one point had left the bubble. I don't know, man. I think this is a tough case. I would love to see the Pelicans and get that 8th spot in the West just so I could see what they did in the playoffs. And I do respect their front office for what they've done this past offseason. They've certainly completely changed up their team, and they have the blueprint on when you trade a superstar player what to look for in return, because they're definitely on the rise. But I do like Utah. I'm not going to lie. The only thing that kind of scares me is the fact that this total has jumped up so much. I think that favors the track meet Pelicans a little bit. So you know what? Actually, I'm going to be a little bit smarter. I'm going to go ahead and just stay away from this game altogether. I just feel like there might be something up here. I'll just leave it at that. I like the Jazz, but I'm going to completely stay away altogether. I can only imagine what you're going to come up with from a fantasy perspective. This is the game to target. This is supposed to be the higher scoring game, and it doesn't have the stars that the second game we're going to talk about does. So I think this is the game to stack, and I'm sure you're going to go crazy, Tati. So have at it.
Yeah, so first off, starting with the Pelicans, I feel like they're almost like another New York Liberty team. They're young but got a few veterans. So I relate them to the Liberty. And then starting off with the Jazz, I do like Jordan Clarkson because I know it's just the preseason, but he did look fast and strong out there, and he's just a pure scorer. And I know that before the season ended as well, he was playing great. So Jordan Clarkson at 4,200 is my sleeper from the Jazz.
If that first shot goes in for him,
every shot's going in.
He very well could have run for 24, 26 points real quick.
Yes. And then I also like Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I just really like him. I always have. He's 7,000, and he's always in the starting lineup, always getting 30-plus minutes, He's just, I really like him. So I also like Donovan Mitchell. For the Jazz, I feel like since they haven't changed up their team in a while, except for adding Jordan Clarkson, they do have great chemistry with each other. So I feel like I like the Jazz as well to win the game. And for the Pelicans, I'll just start off with Derek Favors. He's playing against his former team, the Jazz. 5,800. He's been playing really well with the Pelicans, getting 20-plus minutes. Most of the time in the starting lineup unless Zion's playing, which Zion's questionable today, but I highly doubt he'll miss the season. Season opener.
I have him playing. I mean, there's no way they're going to be favored in this game unless he's playing. So he'll be out there. And Zion's salary is higher than anyone on the Jazz, right?
Yes.
So I feel like I can't recall a time where the best player from a fantasy perspective, highest salary on a team is like 7, like barely touching 7 and less. So they expected a balanced effort from Utah. But again, back to New Orleans.
Yeah. So I don't. Sometimes when it's because this is not a showdown one. This is like the 8 player. Yeah. So this is always like. Gets me sometimes. I'm like, why aren't they like 11,000?
Gotcha.
And then Alonzo Ball, I feel like people have forgot about him. He's one of Pop's favorite players, like every game.
I think that people hate on him way too much. I mean, he's not his dad.
That is true.
Alonzo, I mean, he's a true point guard. He looks to make the pass first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Those are his 5 options, and he gets it done in a track meet. I like Lonzo.
He has been shooting, well, before this pandemic, he was shooting the ball really well.
Okay, let me ask you that. If we look and we see Ben Simmons improving his 3-point shot, who's to say that Lonzo hasn't improved his shot during this break?
Especially since he changed his form and everything. If he got more consistent with that, he'll be a good shooter.
Okay.
And my sleeper from the Pelicans is actually Josh Hart. I've always been like one of his favorites, one of his fans, but he's only 3,900 and he consistently gets 20 minutes on the Pelicans in each game. So I like Josh Hart. Sometimes he goes off big, but most of the time he's pretty consistent. And when he shoots the ball, he usually shoots really well. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, oh boy, I'm surprised, right? You haven't mentioned Ingram or Holiday. I know Holiday's your guys' friends. You used to see him all the time out at the Sports Academy. Ingram, right? I mean, he's in contention for maybe third team All NBA. I think he's typically a little bit under-owned just based on his demeanor. And he doesn't do anything crazy sexy per se, but he can get it done. Going back to Josh Hart, I kind of like that pick. I think that, he's about at least 500 to 1,000 lower than I would expect. But, he's always good for about 2 or 3 steals, and that automatically is 6 points there, plus 5 or 6 rebounds. He's at 20 points before he even scores the ball, so I do like that. Going back to Utah, I have to ask you, what about Joe Ingles?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we talk about him, this is one of Pop's all-time favorite players, like, ever. And every time he touches the ball, just like how I say it with Devin Booker, he's like, Joe Ingles!
Yeah, you're kind of embarrassing me right now.
But he's a good passer, and he's just a great defensive player, which gives him steals. But he's, like, always in the 20 in fantasy points. 20 fantasy points. So.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. I mean, any other players? I mean, I kind of like Royce O'Neal a little bit, and Mr. Niang, the 3-3
George Niang.
from Utah. I feel like one of the couple. We can't call it I guess we do have to call it a preseason game since they've been in the bubble. I know that there was he looked kind of good shooting the ball, and perhaps he's seen a few things, and he is a scorer. He's in a little bit of the Jordan Clarkson mold, except he's actually a better shooter than Jordan Clarkson. So I don't know. I think that this is definitely the game to target. A couple of these names are going to pop off and put up a number. Anytime you get this 8-9 times their salary, though, that's usually what it takes to take down a showdown slate or just the overall slate in general. And I'm pretty sure DraftKings is offering up $1 million today.
Yep, they sure are.
Someone's gonna get rich today.
I know, right? So let's move on to the next team or next game. Duh. We've got no, not yet. Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go to the next game.
Okay. So first we've got the Clippers versus the Lakers. Lakers are my favorite team ever.
Cool. Well, yeah, they're mine too. Lakers opened up minus 1.5. The line's currently at minus 4.5. The total 218.5. It's now down to 216.5. So a rare game that's going towards the under. The reason why this spread has gone from minus 1.5 to 4.5 is just because the Clips, obviously they're going to be without Lou Williams. He's still trying to figure out where he's going to get his takeout food from. And then Mo Harrell, he's out. So essentially what makes the Clips so great is their depth. And now here they are. They're going to be missing their top two studs off the bench. And it's not like they're normal players off the bench. No. These are two big-time impact players that they're going to be missing. And then Pat Bev and Ivica Zubac are both questionable to play today. So a little bit of a mash unit for the Clippers. On the flip side for the Lakers, I know we got Rajon Rondo's out. Avery Bradley is out entirely for the bubble. And then Alex Caruso is questionable for the Lakers. Obviously, the Lakers have a couple other players that they brought on, likely to get some minutes. So I believe this game is going to be nothing like what we've seen from the first couple times that these two teams have met this year. So I think we have to wipe that clean, and then we'll go ahead and take it from there. I do like the Lakers. 4.5, though, what's going to be likely a lower scoring game. We're basically saying that the Lakers are at 2.5 to 3 possessions better than the Clippers. I don't know. I don't really like that either. So I hate to break this to you guys. I don't like this game either. So I've got no specific plays in either one of these games. The Chicago Sky are not playing today, so I don't have any play whatsoever. But I will absolutely be watching this game very closely. I want to see what we can glean just based on the way the roster formulations are as we go forward. And other than that, my only prediction is that Los Angeles is going to go ahead and win this game.
Yeah, so I saw that Anthony Davis has those cool glasses on. Those will be interesting if he wears those. He looked pretty funny in them. What do you think about the J.R. Smith edition for the Lakers?
I don't like it. The last time I saw J.R. Smith playing, he didn't even know what the score was, and LeBron was jumping up and down yelling at him during that Golden State Warrior game a couple years ago. I know some people like J.R. Smith, especially the ladies. I'm glad that you're young where you don't quite understand that yet. I hope you never do. I think he's charismatic. I also think he was one of the first people, once he got into the bubble, that kind of messed up. So that doesn't surprise me either. I don't know. I feel like the Lakers, as much as that, I will always love them dearly. I just feel like we're back to the Cleveland Cavalier days. And so I don't really like it. I just don't. I would rather go without him than go with him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then again, LeBron James and J.R. Smith know how each other play, so there will be a little bit of chemistry there, unless LeBron's still mad at him from that game, because that was a big game.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know if J.R. Smith knows how J.R. Smith plays.
That's hilarious. So going back to the Clippers, one of my favorite picks is JaMychal Green, 3,500. Since Lou Williams is not there, and Mo Harrell, JaMychal Green is going to get more minutes off the bench, usually around 15-20 minutes per game. I do think he'll get around 25 to 30 this game, taking over Mo Harrell's minutes. So, and then obviously Zubac, I know it was a while ago, but he is against his former team. He usually does well against the Lakers, but they might have figured out how he played now. So.
I'll give you 2 names on the Clippers that I think will do well. Mr.
Okay.
Morris, I think he's 4'7".
Yes.
This is like a tailor-made. This is a perfect situation for him. I think he's gonna get a spike in minutes, so I expect Morris to do his thing. And then a player that Tati, I gotta be honest, I'm not even sure if you know or remember him, Joakim Noah at 3'1". Here's a guy, a former, I think he won a Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he did.
And he kind of slides right in. I like that addition for the Clippers. So how about this? I love the Noah addition about 417 times more than I like the addition of the Airhead. I'm sorry, of Mr. Smith for the Lakers. So I think Noah's going to do some stuff, and I think he's gonna show up today. You can count on him to get to like 10, 12 minutes, and he will make an impact.
Yes, he will. Also, the Marcus Morris versus Markieff Morris, the brothers, are playing against each other again.
You know what? That's interesting. I totally that slipped my mind. So, what would happen, Tati, if you're in the WNBA finals and your team is up against Liv's team, your younger sister? Who gets the better?
Well, my team's gonna win because I know how she plays.
Okay. Well, you know what's interesting for our audience? I think now's the perfect time. We're gonna go ahead and bring in Tati's younger sister at Liv Harness, Liv Legend,
Harness.
Liv_Harness. I'm looking at her right now. She's smiling. Her mouth is shut. Her face is turning red. So for those of you that know her, you know exactly what she looks like right now. What do you think about that, Liv? Did you hear what Tati said about you?
I mean, yes, I did hear that, but no, I would think it would be a close game just because I know how she plays and she knows how I play. So, I mean, I would be telling my coach, she's going to do that, she's going to do this, she's going to shoot the ball when this person goes up on her. So.
All right, how about Liv? Who's the better scorer, you or Tati?
Oh, me. I mean, yeah, me.
Tati, who's the better scorer, you or your sister?
Well, you know, Liv's, she's a pure scorer. If she makes one shot, every shot's going in.
So are you?
But I get to the basket and score. So I mean,
Yeah.
like a pure scorer, it would probably have to be Liv.
Well, that's respectful of you to say. So you're saying she's like a mini Jordan Clarkson without the tattoos?
Yes. You know what? That's a great comparison, Pops.
Okay. Now, who's more clutch? You, Tati, or Liv?
Me. Definitely me.
Liv's sitting here trying to figure out what clutch means. Who handles the pressure better, Liv? You or your sister?
If I'm being honest, it would have to be Tati.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
who's the smarter player? Liv, you or Tati?
I am.
Tati?
I am because I have more experience.
Well, it looks like we're going to have to take this out on the court. Liv, before you leave, who wins tonight? Los Angeles or Los Angeles?
I would have to go with the Los Angeles Lakers.
How come?
Just because, I mean, I've always liked them just because of their players, and I just feel like they have been putting in work, which I'm sure the Clippers are too, but
You kind of feel like the Lakers are on a mission this year, like they want to win this title for LeBron and that they're going to do it?
I mean, yeah, but I feel like the Lakers, they have more guards and posts.
Okay, fair enough.
So I feel like they have more stronger players than the Clippers.
Okay, so then who do you think, I'm going to put you on the spot, out of all the teams in the NBA that you know, who's going to win the NBA championship this year?
I would have to go with the Lakers.
There it is.
Yeah, Lakers.
The Liv Harness stamp of approval. Liv, any last words you want to say before exiting the podcast?
Just thank you guys for all tuning in.
Fair enough. You heard it from her. Appreciate you, Liv. Tati?
So moving on to the Lakers, also known as the Kyle Kuzma team.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So, a quick story real fast. Olivia and I actually went to the Kyle Kuzma camp at Mamba Sports Academy, also known as Official Sports Academy, last year. And it was great meeting him, and we also won the Mamba Mentality Trophy at that camp. So that was a great experience, and it was so cool meeting, like, my favorite player ever. So I just had to say that real fast because that was awesome. So the Kyle Kuzma team is going to win because LeBron, he's going to win the title this year. I just think they've won so many games. They've been playing so well. I don't think they're going to let that go away. I still think that they're in the championship mindset. So I like LeBron tonight. I know he's 10-7 the most by like a lot. And then also you've got the GOAT on this team, Alex Caruso, who just gets putback after putback off of dunks.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
I do like Danny Green at 3,500. He's usually in the starting lineup, gets around 30 minutes. And just like another Jordan Clarkson, once he makes one of them, all of them are going in.
Okay.
But
I'm going to give you a name.
okay.
Quinn Cook. That's my hot take. His
Isn't
salary?
he always your hot take?
No, Quinn Cook? I don't think so. You know what I mean? He's 3,000 on the number. I have a feeling he's going to get to 18 fantasy points tonight. At least 18.
If
So-
he gets some playing time.
Oh, clearly, Tati. I get what you're saying. You're saying he's not even going to take the court. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh,
I got
gosh.
some-
Everybody knows what happens when Pop says, we'll see.
I know a couple people that are trying to get into the bubble. They haven't made it yet, but they're telling me that Quinn, something's going to happen here. So, I don't know. We'll see. But if it happens, you heard it here first. My part's done. You know, I've given you guys the lines. I threw out a couple of sleepers at you, right? And I think it's time to
Wrap it
get
up.
after it. I'm really excited. I'm nothing but smiles. What a great day. It always feels great to have sports back. I know that everyone's gone through so much during this pandemic. Our lives have been turned upside down. It's nice to have sports back. I think it's good psychologically for all of us in this country and in the world for that matter. I also feel like, you know, between the NBA, the WNBA today, we got some golf, which the only reason why I'm saying this is Tati's teasing me, talking about a little bit, maybe a golf podcast. And then, of course, we brought Liv in.
Liv
So,
legend.
so we got a true family feel here. And I know that's part of the reason why you guys listen. You guys know these girls on the court. I think it's awesome that you're going to get to know them even further off the court. Great kids, hard workers, committed to their craft. The world's their oyster. Thank you all.
Well, I want to thank you all again. We all know that the Kyle Kuzma Lakers team is going to win today because they've got Kyle Kuzma on it and Alex Caruso. But I do want to thank you all again for joining on here. We will have another podcast out tomorrow before 12 o'clock Pacific time. And that wraps up episode 5 of the Daughter and Pops podcast.